Exactly 5 years ago today, I stumbled upon something that was just crazy, like terrible, jarring, one of the most awful things I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it. And like most of you, I was preparing for a day of code and conference calls. What are really actually two fundamentally incompatible things, but bear with me. What I stumbled upon that morning was this. The idea that 100,000 people in Detroit were about to have to live without running water because they couldn't afford their water bills. And if you have the misfortune of living in a city like Detroit or Baltimore or Philadelphia or many other cities in the United States, if you're too poor to pay your water bill, they will shut you off. They don't care if you are elderly, suffering from Alzheimer's. They don't care if you've been laid off from your job of 20 years. They don't even care if you're fighting for your life against breast cancer. If you haven't paid your water bill, they will shut you off. And so what that basically says is that in a country where life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is written into the Constitution, the thing that you need for life is not a right for you. And of course, at the time I was working in City Hall in Atlanta, and I thought that was crazy, and I was really angry about it. And I didn't just let this die as a story, as a tab in my browser, where I just read it and I just go, oh, that's too bad, and do nothing about it. So what happened was that my co-founder and I, that same day, ended up building a website that turned into the Human Utility, where we connect people who need help with their water bills to people who want to give. And in the first 30 days of doing that, we paid $100,000 in water bills for people who had lost their jobs, single parents, grandparents, folks of that sort. And so what I'm here to do today is kind of like bring this story to you all to hopefully inspire someone here to try to do the same thing with technology, with software. Because we have so much at our disposal that I don't think we're maximizing the potential of things. I think we really should. So the first thing that I would say, if you want to do something like this and use software to inspire better living for people, is to start small. Even though this problem affects over 40 million people in the United States, we didn't let that stop us because, first of all, we didn't know. So all we did was we threw up a really basic website. This is our first website 5 years ago. And all it did was connect people who needed help with their water bills to folks that didn't, folks who couldn't pay their bills. And along those lines, we ended up finding out that people get shut off for the craziest reasons. Like they have health problems and whatnot. But what ended up happening is that we connected all these people with help for their water bills. 5 years later, this is what it looks like. But again, you don't have to start fancy. What you can do is just throw up a really ugly website and go from there. And if you're doing something that's meaningful, people will go along with you.